Okay, so have you seen this? Tesla's Optimus robot. It just like casually catches a tennis ball, one-handed.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about like a clumsy grab. This is like smooth, totally effortless, like a seasoned pro on the court.
It really is remarkable when you think about everything that has to go on behind the scenes for that to even happen. We're talking like instant ball detection, predicting the trajectory of the ball, tracking its movement in real time, and then nailing that grasp with like perfect timing. It's way beyond just like a neat trick. It's really a massive leap forward in robotics.
I know, right? Like, it's pretty wild. Of course, Elon Musk, he just couldn't resist. Dropping in a Star Wars comparison, he was saying that owning an Optimus will be like having your own C-3PO and R2-D2. Like the duo. So is that just classic Elon hype? Or is he actually giving us a sneak peek into the future? I mean, that's exactly what we're going to be digging into today.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole stack of articles, expert analyses, even some skeptical takes. And we're going to like break it all down. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a really clear picture of like what this Optimus thing really means. Especially for you.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things about Optimus is really how far it's come. It definitely did not start out this impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that first reveal? Back in 2021, it was basically a person in a robot suit.
Oh, totally.
A lot of skepticism back then. People were saying things like, wow, looks like a human's doing the catching there.
The memes were legendary.
Right.
But there's no denying, Optimus has come a long way since then. I mean, we've seen it serving drinks at events, interacting with guests, even tackling some like basic factory tasks. I mean, it's still early days, but the progress is undeniable.
It really is. And Musk's vision for Optimus is seriously ambitious. He wants to see these robots taking over those like dangerous, repetitive, boring jobs at Tesla factories by next year. And then he's planning on offering them to other companies. And eventually, he even sees them in homes.
Household robots. So, hold on. Now I'm picturing Optimus like walking my dog, tackling that mountain of laundry, maybe even like whipping up dinner. Oh, I finally get to those emails. Okay. Maybe I got a little carried away there. But Musk has actually mentioned things like babysitting, grocery shopping, even being a companion. It's all part of his goal to make Optimus like this true multi-purpose robot, capable of pretty much anything.
Yeah. He's even put a potential price tag out there, around $25,000 once they get mass production rolling. Now, whether or not that's a realistic number is a whole other discussion. Musk has been known to be, shall we say, optimistic with his timelines.
For sure. But, okay, can we just circle back to that Star Wars comparison for a minute? I think it's super interesting. Because, remember, Musk said having an Optimus would be like
having your own
C-3PO and R2-D2. And these two droids, I mean, they're iconic, but they also represent very different things.
Right.
Like R2-D2, he's the clever, resourceful one, always saving the day. C-3PO, a little more on the anxious side. But he's a master communicator.
And
translator.
Right. That comparison raises a really fascinating question. What exactly is Musk trying to highlight by invoking these two droids? Is he leaning into the practical, can-do spirit of R2-D2, the companionship angle of C-3PO, or is he going for both? It's a really smart way to position Optimus in our minds, kind of blending that practicality with a touch of personality, maybe even hinting at an emotional connection. What do you think?
It definitely makes you wonder.
Right.
I mean, the possibilities are pretty wild.
Yeah.
You really start to think about it. But let's get real for a second. What does all this actually mean for us, like regular folks? You know, if Optimus actually lives up to all the hype, what's the real-world impact here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The implications are huge, and it's a real mixed bag of potential positives and negatives. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the job market. Could robots like Optimus take over jobs that are currently done by humans?
Yeah, that's a big one. It's hard not to wonder if this is like the beginning of the robots coming for our jobs.
It's a valid concern, but it's not quite that simple. There's also an argument to be made that this kind of technology could actually create new opportunities. Imagine humans being freed from those dangerous, repetitive tasks, opening up space for them to focus on more creative and complex work. What if this leads to entirely new fields that we can't even imagine yet?
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. So maybe it's not just about job displacement, but about job evolution. We'll definitely need to unpack that more.
Absolutely. And beyond the work aspect, think about the impact Optimus could have on our daily lives. Imagine a world where these robots are a common sight, not just in factories, but in our homes.
Okay, now that's where it gets really interesting for me. I can definitely see the appeal of having a robot handle those like everyday chores.
Yeah.
That, let's be honest, nobody really enjoys doing it.
Right. Think about the potential. No more laundry piling up, dishes magically getting done, even getting help with the tasks that become more challenging as we age. It could be a game changer, especially for seniors who need assistance with daily activities.
I'm starting to see how this could reshape our lives in some pretty profound ways. It's almost like a glimpse into a sci-fi future. But it's happening right before our eyes, I have to admit. It's both exciting and a little unnerving.
Um,
At the same time, I mean, we've seen enough movies about robots taking over the world to be a little wary, right?
I understand that feeling completely. It's like we're on the verge of something huge, something that could revolutionize our world. But with any major technological leap, there's always a need for careful consideration to make sure we're moving forward in a way that benefits everyone.
Exactly. It's not just about the cool factor of having a robot that can do amazing things. We need to be thinking about the bigger picture here. But hey, that's what we do here on the Deep Dive. We're taking these complex topics,
Right.
breaking them down,
Yeah.
and hopefully giving you some food for thought along the way.
Precisely.
So let's keep exploring these different angles because
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack. Where do you want to go next?
You know, we've talked about jobs, daily life, even that intriguing Star Wars comparison, but I think there's another big piece of the puzzle that we need to explore. How much will all of this actually cost? We touched on the potential price of an Optimus unit, but what about the broader economic impact?
Yeah, you're right. That's a crucial piece of the conversation. We need to think beyond just the sticker price of owning a robot. What happens if these things really do become commonplace? How does that affect wages, job availability, even the cost of goods and services? It's like a complex web of factors
Yeah.
that we need to untangle. All right, so let's dive into that. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on how this whole robot revolution could impact the economy and what it could mean for all of us.
Let's get into it. One of the most interesting things to consider is the potential shift in the job market if robots are taking over. Those repetitive manual tasks. What happens to the people who currently hold those jobs? Will they be displaced, or will new opportunities emerge?
It's kind of a mind-bending concept to grasp, isn't it? On the one hand, we could be looking at a future where robots are taking over these jobs that so many people rely on. But on the other, what if this frees up human potential for things that robots just could never replicate?
Exactly. It's a classic case of disruption. Think about the Industrial Revolution. I mean, it completely changed how we worked, lived,
Yeah.
interacted with the world. Yeah, there were growing pains, absolutely, but ultimately it led to advancements that benefited society as a whole.
So you're saying we could be on the brink of another revolution, this time driven by robots. It's fascinating, but honestly a little intimidating too.
It's understandable to feel that way. Change is always a bit unsettling. But think about it this way. What if Optimus and robots like it allow us to refocus human energy on the things that we're uniquely good at, like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, things that robots, at least for now, can't really compete with? What are they?
That's an interesting perspective. It's almost like robots could be the catalyst for like a renaissance of human ingenuity.
Precisely. We could see an explosion of new industries, new art forms, new ways of thinking, all because we're no longer bogged down by those tasks that can be automated.
Okay, now you're getting me excited about the possibilities here. Man, let's come back down to earth for a second. Even if these robots create all these amazing opportunities, there's still the question of access. Not everyone can afford a $25,000 robot, even if that price does come down over time.
You're hitting on a really crucial point there. The potential for economic disparity is a major consideration. If access to this technology is uneven, it could really exacerbate existing inequality.
Exactly. We could see a situation where those who can afford robots, they gain a significant advantage in productivity, efficiency, even leisure time, while those who can't fall further behind. That's kind of a recipe for social and economic unrest.
Absolutely. It's imperative that we address these concerns now. Before this technology becomes widespread, we need to think about ways to ensure equitable access, perhaps through government subsidies, community ownership models, or even like innovative financing options.
It's a challenge for sure, but it's one we can't afford to ignore. If this robot revolution is truly going to benefit everyone, we need to be proactive in addressing these digital pitfalls.
I couldn't agree more. And there's another layer to this accessibility issue: education. We need to make sure people have the skills and knowledge to thrive in a world where robots are increasingly integrated into the workforce.
That's a great point. We can't just focus on making robots accessible. We need to make sure people are equipped to work alongside them, to leverage their capabilities, and to adapt to this changing landscape of work.
Exactly. We need to be investing in STEM education, retraining programs, and even promoting digital literacy. It's about empowering people
Yeah.
to be active participants in this new technological era, not passive bystanders.
Okay, so we've talked about jobs, daily life, the economic implications, even the potential for this tech to exacerbate inequality if we're not careful. Is there anything we're missing? Anything else we need to consider as we try to wrap our heads around this robot revolution?
There's one more piece of the puzzle I think we need to touch on, the evolving nature of the technology itself. Right now, Optimus is primarily focused on physical tasks. But what about the future? Could we see robots with more advanced cognitive abilities, capable of learning, adapting, and even making decisions independently?
Whoa, okay, now we're getting into some serious sci-fi territory here. Are we talking about robots that can think for themselves? Robots that could potentially outsmart us?
It's not as far-fetched as it might sound.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is advancing at an incredible pace. The line between human intelligence and artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly blurred.
I have to admit, that's a little unsettling. We've all seen those movies where the robots turn on their creators.
Yeah.
It's like the classic sci-fi trope. But seriously, how do we ensure that these advanced robots, these machines with potentially incredible cognitive abilities, remain tools that benefit humanity and don't become a threat?
That's the ultimate challenge, isn't it? And it's a question that's being grappled with right now by philosophers, scientists, policymakers, and ethicists around the world. There were no easy answers. But the key is to have these conversations, to establish ethical guidelines, and to ensure that the development of this technology is guided by human values.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around, but it's a conversation we need to be having. This technology has the potential to reshape our world in ways we can barely imagine, for better or for worse. The choices we make now will determine the course of that future.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how we choose to use it, how we integrate it into our lives, and how we ensure that it serves humanity's best interests.
This deep dive has really gotten me thinking. From tennis-playing robots to potential job displacement, the economic implications, and now the ethical considerations of increasingly intelligent machines. It's been quite a journey. Where do we even go from here?
I think the takeaway is that we're at a pivotal moment. We're standing on the precipice of a new era in robotics, one that holds immense promise and potential peril. Optimus, whether it lives up to all the hype or not, is a symbol of that. It's a catalyst for these crucial conversations about the future of work, the role of technology in our lives, and even what it means to be human in an age of increasingly intelligent machines.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to process. But hey, that's what we do here on The Deep Dive, right? We take these complex topics, break them down, and hopefully give you some food for thought along the way. And I think we've done just that today.
I agree. And in the spirit of leaving you with something to ponder, I have a question for you. If you could have your own Optimus robot, what would be the very first task you'd assign it, and why?
That is a great question, I think. I'd actually have Optimus teach me something, like how to play the piano. I've always wanted to learn, but I just never found the time.
Oh, that's fantastic. Using Optimus to unlock a personal passion. I love it. It really speaks to how this technology could help us achieve those things that we've always dreamed of, but maybe never thought we had the time or resources for.
Exactly. It's not just about like offloading chores. It's about like opening up possibilities. Maybe Optimus could even help me write a symphony, or at least like a catchy jingle for my morning alarm.
You know, you're thinking outside the box. And that's what's so exciting about this moment in time. We're on the verge of this paradigm shift. And it's up to us to really imagine how we want to use this technology to reshape our lives, our communities, even the world.
It's almost like we're being given this blank canvas, and the possibilities are only limited by our imaginations. But with that freedom comes responsibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a responsibility to use this technology wisely, ethically, and with a focus on the greater good. We need to ensure it doesn't create further divides or become a tool for control and exploitation.
It's like we're holding the keys to this incredibly powerful engine, and we need to make sure we're steering it in the right direction.
That's a perfect analogy. And that steering, that guidance, comes from having these conversations, from exploring the different perspectives, and from considering the potential consequences of our actions.
It's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly exciting. I mean, who wouldn't want a robot that can help them unlock their full potential?
Exactly. Imagine a world where everyone has access to this kind of technology, where it's used to empower individuals, to foster creativity, and to solve some of the most pressing challenges facing humanity. That's a future worth striving for.
That's a future I want to be a part of building. And I think this deep dive has given us all a lot to think about as we navigate this uncharted territory.
I couldn't agree more. We've covered a lot of ground today. From the technical marvels of Optimus to the profound ethical questions that it raises. And as we move forward, it's crucial that we keep these conversations going, that we challenge our assumptions, and that we strive to create a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the